Hi, this is about my what I call shape multiplication for my shape math. You'll notice that up here there are two colored pentagons. They don't appear anywhere else on this form. And there's also a red circle. And if you remember that circles go with circles, everything multiplied by the digit that's in this red circle, those products will all appear in these red circles. Anything that is multiplied by this blue square, those products will end up down here in the blue squares. So I'm constantly repeating to students, circles go with circles, squares go with squares. Once you print off these pages or these templates, they're perfect for slipping inside a page protector or a plastic sleeve for students. Then you can assign different numbers for them to multiply together. And for that, what I would normally do would be to pass out a page like this to each student. We'd put them in plastic sleeve protectors, and then I would just start dictating some numbers. Sometimes the kids enjoy choosing numbers of their own, and they quickly figure out how to make a more difficult or an easier problem, which I kind of found interesting because it's pretty good critical thinking skills. So I'd say, let's give a hard one, and they would choose numbers that they know are more difficult to multiply together. Like they have trouble with the sevens, so they know if they put a 7 here, some of the kids had a little more trouble with it, or a 5 would be a little bit easier for them. So in order to use these pages and the way they're intended, I want to just kind of run through what I do and how I normally would carry out a lesson. After dictating the numbers or telling them what to write in these shapes, I make sure that they know that we start right here. For some students, I would actually write an arrow on their page or take a highlighter and color in the circle. And it's just a visual sign for them to remember this is where I start. And circles go with circles. So the first digit of the product is going to go down here. So as they start with step A, I would either start here with the 5 times 4, or a lot of times, most of the time, personally, I start down here and start with 4 times 5. And what answer do you get? So once the students would answer that, they know to put the 0 here, and they carry the 2 over to the tens pentagon. Then we do the same thing. We'll take that next number. Oops, sorry, I'm trying to change the screen here. We're going to multiply across, and you can put your little multiplication sign if you find the students like that. 4 times 6 is 24, plus 2, and that's where we write our 26. Circles go with circles. Now we know we're finished with this number 4. For some students, I would tell them, put an X on it. You're finished with it. So then they have a visual sign that they don't have to worry about that digit anymore. When you go to the next tens place for this bottom number, I point out again, now we're looking at the blue squares. Squares go with squares. So we're finished with this, whether they put an X on it or not. But also, I did skip a little step right here for C, trace over the 0. That prepares them to get ready to go to the blue square. Now we're going to start in with the blue squares. 3 times 5. What do we get when we multiply 3 times 5? Well, we get 15. So we put the 5 down. We're going to carry the 1, so we write it up here. Notice that we did cross off the 2 because we're not using that anymore. It's done. They can either erase it or scribble it out. So now we're going to take 3 times 6. And what answer do we get there? We get 18. Plus 1 is 19. Squares go with squares, so the answers or the products all go in the blue squares. So what is the next step? Now we're going to start adding. So we start at the end. They need to remember that. We always start on the right side of the problem And we're just going to simply add those numbers together. That is the completed answer. So please let me know if you have any questions, and I'll be happy to answer them. You can email me at jules@caffeinequeenteacher.com. Thanks.